5 teachers' unions, along with a number of school governing body associations. They've supported the reopening of schools on Monday after having met with the Minister and Deputy Minister of Basic Education and Provincial Education MECs for schools' state of readiness. In a joint statement, the unions and SGBs also added that there is a clear understanding that schools which are not COVID-19 compliant will not reopen. The overall school readiness said to be just over 94%. Well, joining me this afternoon for more on this is Paul Colditz, the CEO for the Federation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools, FEDSAS. Paul, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. I mean, the Minister is set to brief the nation at around 4 p.m. today. Is FEDSAS satisfied with the measures taken by the department?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lindi, and good afternoon to your viewers as well. We're satisfied. We're satisfied that we made the correct decision to request the Minister to postpone until tomorrow, so that all provinces and all schools would have more opportunity to get ready for the reopening of schools. And we've seen and heard and experienced that a lot of people have done tremendously hard work over the past week to ready the schools for reopening.
Sure. I mean, Paul, a week or two ago, FEDSAS was among the voices who were saying, well, we're not ready to reopen schools just yet. Take us through that meeting that you would have had with the Minister and the Deputy Minister. I mean, what was said in that meeting to really convince you that tomorrow, schools will be ready to open?
Yes, we received reports from all the provinces. We received a report from the National Education and Collaboration Trust, and also from Rand Water with regard to everything that had been done over the past week and is still to be done today to make sure that the vast majority of schools will be ready. Obviously, there are still schools with problems where access to schools have been blocked by local communities, where the water supply is so bad that it could not be finished before tomorrow. But our own surveys and our own experience and observations at ground level, and together with the reports we received, made it absolutely clear that the vast majority of schools, as I say, will be ready to reopen tomorrow.
Well, take us through some of that groundwork that was done. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Take us through some of that groundwork that was done to ensure that what you're hearing from the Minister and the reports that have been given is the reality on the ground.
Yes, indeed. Our own surveys show that whereas a week ago the personal protective equipment and water supply in schools have not been delivered, there was insufficient urgency, and over the past week we experienced and also saw and heard that in the reports that the majority of the issues that had been outstanding, such as delivery of the PPEs, the training and orientation of teachers, and the supply of water, has significantly improved in the week's time.
And when we say significantly increased, can you tell us a bit about what exactly we mean by that? Because, I mean, the last time the Minister spoke, she spoke about, I think it was around 3,000 schools, that are in need of clean water in order for them to reopen. So when you say, there is progress that's been made, perhaps paint a picture for us so we can get a better understanding.
Yes, indeed. The report by Rand Water was that there was 3,126 schools without adequate water supply, and the majority of those received tanks where there were insufficient tanks. They received extra tanks, the necessary pipes and taps connected to those tanks, and if I remember correctly, it was only by Friday this week, last week, only 191 schools were outstanding, but they were still working on it and would have worked on it yesterday and today. And then the other thing, yes, as we're looking at the pictures now, the sanitizing and of schools has also progressed very well. So there's also been a significant improvement with regard to that.
And does FEDSAS still believe that it would have made better sense for schools to reopen with the foundation phase?
Yes, indeed. We think that there are many reasons why grade R and foundation phase should have been given preference instead of grade 7, because so many parents are now returning to work, even teachers who have to return to teaching with small children, and they don't have adequate supervision for their children at homes if there's nobody else at home. It's much easier to leave a grade 7 learner at home and you can tell that learner what to do and not to do, but that is very difficult with the smaller ones, so it would have made much more sense. In the initial directions that the Minister published, no provision was made for grade 1 and 2, for example, but those have been amended to make sure also now that grade R, grade 1 and 2, the foundation phase, will return on the 6th of July. So they have been given preference for returning before other grades in the higher grades. For example, grade 8 and grade 9.
And Paul, just before we let you go, I mean, there's still a lot of anxiety and a lot of fears amongst parents for their children to return back to school. What has been done about allaying those fears, and not just in the parents, but also in the teachers as well, who need to go back to the classrooms?
No. Absolutely, absolutely, and that is why the training and orientation of teachers and school management teams was so important in the past week, and that has now been done. To assist them and support them in maintaining the non-pharmaceutical protocols with regard to the safety, well-being and health of children, issues such as sanitizing of hands, regular washing of hands, and the maintenance of social distancing. All of these issues have now been addressed. School management teams have had the opportunity to plan properly for that and to themselves exercise these social distancing measures and these non-pharmaceutical measures. So we believe it will be as safe as is humanly possible under very difficult circumstances, very uncertain circumstances, for children to go back to school rather than staying in their homes and communities where one does not know what the circumstances are. The other thing was obviously also we need to get the school nutrition program back on track.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. That's Paul Colditz, the CEO of FEDSAS.